Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 8th round of the 1960 season, the Portuguese Grand Prix. It was held on the 14th of August, it had 15 entries, all of them took part in the race, however 8 ended up retiring. The race consisted of 55 laps completed in 2 hours and 19 minutes. John Sturdy started the race from pole with Gurney in 2nd, Brabham 3rd, Moss 4th, Graham Hill 5th and McLaren started from 6th. Brabham drove a phenomenal race to win at the Portuguese Grand Prix. McLaren finished in 2nd, 57.97 seconds behind. Jim Clark finished in 3rd, he was 1 minute 53.23 seconds down. Von Trips crossed the line in 4th, 1 minute 58.81 seconds down. Brooks ended up in 5th, he was 6 laps down, whilst Ireland occupied the last point scoring position, he was 7 laps behind. 2 minutes 27.53 seconds was the fastest lap of the race and it was posted by John Surtees. We return to Porto for the Portuguese Grand Prix where a lap starts off with a short sprint down into turn 1, a long left-hander, which brings us onto the longest straight on the circuit. Next we have turn 2, a tight blind left-hander. We then come into turn 3, another tight blind left-hander. After a short sprint we come into turn 4, a medium speed right-hander. From here the track opens up a bit until we come into turn 6, a medium speed left-hander. The track opens up once again, allowing you to go pretty much flat out until we reach turn 12. Brake hard just before the overpass and take it easy as you transition onto the cobbled road. But this brings us around onto the main straight and that is a lap around the Porto circuit. And here we are in qualifying for the Portuguese Grand Prix, coming around to set our first qualifying lap, a 2:32.229, not a very good lap, so I decided to try and improve on that as much as I could. So hopefully things will go well, and as we are coming around through, well, that happened. I had no idea there was a wall right in on the middle of the road. That there was no reason for that to be there, but it was. Anyway, here are the previous Portuguese Grand Prix winners. We have Salvadori and Brooks, and well, not much after that, I guess. That was a bad qualifying. A bad end to qualifying anyway. Anyway, we have Gandebian on pole with Tony Brooks on 2nd and Henry Taylor in 3rd, making a all Yeoman Racing front. We have Brabham in 5th with Ireland 7th, Bruce Mclaren 8th, Andy Higgs is 9th, 10th is Sterling Moss, Von Trips is in 11th, Phil Hill is sideways in 12th for some reason or another, Jim Clark is 13th, 14th Willie Mays, Graham Hill 15th, 16th is Joe Bonnier, followed by Maurice Trintignant in 17th, 18th is Cliff Ellison, 19th Richie Ginther, John Surtees 20th, 21st is Ronald Flockhart, and bringing up the rear is Dan Gurney in 22nd. So that is the grid lineup for the Portuguese Grand Prix, the 1960 Portuguese Grand Prix. Hopefully a good one. The first time around we raced here, it kind of ended in disaster, and once again, just like last time, there will be no replays because the cameras on this track are situated below the track, so it looks really bad, and if you want to see how bad it looks, you can go back to the 1958 Portuguese Grand Prix, and I showed it off right there. But anyway, here we are coming through turn 2 now, or rather turn 1, going on to the longest straight of the track. We are in 20th, however a little bit later on Ron Flockhart managed to overtake us, so we dropped down into 22nd. Phil Hill is out of the race apparently, so just goes to show how bad an idea is to park your car sideways on the track. As we come into turn 2 here, I try to be very careful not to crash into Flockhart. Then we come into turn 3 actually, and there were a few cars that kind of had some problems. I managed to move up into 19th, but then Flockhart moves right past me again. Then we come around to finish lap 1 and start lap 2, and we move up a few positions. We are now in 18th, Dan Gurney is right in front. However, I go wide through this corner and allow Allison and then Flockhart as well to retake their positions. So we are back down in 20th. Richie Ginther is in 21st, some 9 seconds behind us now. And we then come into turn 2 or 3, I cannot keep track. And we saw a few cars upside down that allows us to move up into 14th. We're still behind Ronald Flockhart. I'm trying to overtake him as we come around to finish lap 2. I almost crash into Flockhart, overtake Cliff Ellison and Graham Hill as well. Can I overtake Bonnier as well? No, I need to brake forward turn 1 here. That allows Graham Hill to move past us, and we drop down into 12, then into 13th as Cliff Ellison overtakes us as well. Flockhart is next. Will he be able to? I'm not sure. And actually he does overtake me eventually, so we drop down into 14th as we come into this left-hander. I try to give as much room to Flockhart as possible, not to trying to avoid a crash there, and we drop down back into 14th. Then I brake a bit late into 13th, managed to outbrake Flockhart, and we move up a position. Now chasing after Cliff Allison. Hopefully we can catch him, as someone had some sort of a problem there, I'm not sure. That slowed everyone down, so we move up into 11th. Bruce McLaren is up next. I'm having a very good feeling about this race. As we come through the final corner here, I move past Bruce McLaren, and we see Joe Bonnier. They're very slow. Actually, everyone is slow on this part of the track for some reason or another. So we move up into 9th now, at the moment chasing after Lucien Bianchi. However, Bonnier managed to undercut us and is back in 9th. However, something happened during lap 4. Not sure what Bonnier was trying to do. There's some sort of a crazy stunt that allows us to move back up into 9th, so that's quite nice, I guess. And I was really feeling very, very confident about this race until this point, where I, well, braked very, very late into this left-hander. I tried to turn in, but I was going too fast, crashed into the hay bales there, lost both of my front wheels, and that is the end of the Portuguese Grand Prix for Andy Higgs, unfortunately. And here we are on board with I forgot who this is. Gandebian, there we go. Coming around to finish the race, to take the win out here in Portugal. In fact, I think it was a, yep, it is in fact a 1-2-3 for Yeoman Credit Racing, which is quite interesting. Bianchi is finished in 4th, Ireland 5th, and Sterling Moss in 6th. Sterling Moss also managed to post the fastest lap of the race, and here are the retirements. Unfortunately, we number ourselves among them, so quite disappointing for Andy. I really felt good about this race. I think we could have earned some points here, but it wasn't meant to be, so yeah, that is that, I guess. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 93rd Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 5 pole positions, has set 15 fastest laps, his best finishes in first, has completed 66 races, 55 of them in the points, has won 33 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 7 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 370 points, has retired 27 times, has experienced 2,164 out of 2,589 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 9 silver trophies, 33 gold trophies, and as an extension, 33 podiums. And I would like to thank a commenter by the name of Danila Morozov. I believe that's how you pronounce that. I'm not quite sure. So basically what happened, there was a inconsistency between races completed and retirements. They didn't add up to the number of Grand Prix entered. And the problem was I kind of missed a retirement, so there were fewer retirements than there should have been, so that's where the problem lied. But anyway, let's move on. And here are the championship standings. Richie Ginther and Sterling Moss are now battling for the lead in the championship. Bruce Mclaren is in 3rd. Von Trips and Ireland fighting for 4th. Phil Hill is in 6th. Andy Higgs, Tony Brooks and Gendebian fighting for 7th. The last person to score points is Willie May Rees down in 19th. And at the very bottom of the standings we have Dan Gurney in 22nd. So those are the standings for the drivers. Quite an interesting turnout. Well, it was quite interesting up until now, but it seems that the fight intensifies, and although we only have 2 more races left in the season, the championship is far from decided. But anyway, let's move on to the constructors next. And here, Ferrari are leading the championship with Rob Walker Racing Team in 2nd, Team Lotus in 3rd, 4th are Cooper, 5th Johan Credit Racing with Aston Martin in 6th, and the last team to score points are the Belgian national team, who are in 8th with 3 points. So that was the Portuguese Grand Prix. Very, very disappointing for Andy, especially since it looked quite likely that we could have scored a few points here, so that crash was quite unwelcome, especially considering that the season hasn't gone too well for Andy so far, and I don't think Italy or the United States Grand Prix will do any favors for us, but hey, what can you do? You cannot win all of them, and I'm quite happy to finally see a race where I actually am struggling, where I have to really be careful at what I do and try to be as consistent as possible, and it seems that sometimes even that is not enough. We're actually doing way better in the Aston Martin than the team did in real life, so I guess that's a plus. But anyway, our next race is the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and once again we will be racing on the long version of the track with the oval in place. Quite a controversial move from the race organizers. A lot of people were against the reintroduction of the oval, especially the British drivers, because it kind of played to their disadvantage, but hey, what can you do? But yeah, that is the end of this video. Not much to add. Very bad race for Andy, good race for everyone else, at least those who managed to finish, and especially to those who managed to finish at the top. So yeah, don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a playthrough of Diablo 2 and IL-2 Sturmovik 1946, so if you're interested in any of those games, there will be a link in the description to that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.